Good morning. Welcome into Five Clubs Live on a Tuesday morning from Charlotte, North Carolina, here on Golf Channel. Also, it's PGA Tour Radio. That's Channel 92 on Sirius XM. I'm Gary Williams. You know this program is presented by Century Insurance. They are in the business of business insurance. Evaluate yours with them. Plus, they do such great things with golf, with the USGA, with the First Tee. We'll give you an example of that before the end of the program. Golf Pride, speaking of leaders, when it comes to grips and having the options through your bag, if you look at their array of grips, nobody has more to provide you, but every single grip has the best materials, the best durability. That is through the bag. And of course, Peter Millar, everything that you would need for whatever your life brings you, from work to play to travel, they've got it all at Peter Millar, all of their retail stores, and of course at petermillar.com, including this little artisan crafted ribbed cashmere crew neck sweater in 2 colors. Get it all at petermillar.com. All right, today we're going to be joined by Angel Yin, 2-time winner on the LPGA, somebody who's been on 3 Solheim Cup teams. I'm looking forward to the conversation with her about not only her journey, but also the road ahead for the LPGA with the new commissioner, Craig Kessler, who was on this program less than 2 weeks ago. And then we had filet in here yesterday. How about a little Wagyu, a little marbleized meat today? Johnson Wagner is going to be with us. He'll be part of Golf Channel's Golf Channel Games that's going to be live on the network tomorrow night from Jupiter, Florida. Quite a list of players who are part of these 2 teams. We'll get his thoughts, not just about being a part of this made-for-TV event, but also the things that transpired this year for him professionally, some of the shots that he tried to execute. Also, he had as particular a view of what Rory McIlroy did at Augusta National as anybody, because on the radio side, on Masters Radio, which is PGA Tour Radio on Sirius XM, he, along with Mike Tirico and Taylor Zarzour, have the bird's eye view from this very, very intimate, cozy little perch sitting just above and to the left. If you're playing the 18th hole at Augusta National, he saw it all. He was probably 30 to 40 feet away from what transpired in regulation and then in that one playoff hole. So Johnson's seen a heck of a lot this year. So looking forward to the conversation with him. And a reminder, tomorrow is our final show of the year. 2 hours for you live. We needed those 2 hours because we're going to be joined tomorrow by Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry, Keegan Bradley, Keith Mitchell. That's all we could provide. We tried, we did our best. That's all we could deliver for you on the final show of the year. The number 1, number 2 player in the world, the United States Ryder Cup captain, the European Ryder Cup hero who made the winning putt, and Cashmere Keith. Because it's cold outside, and don't you want to be warmed up by the most stylish player in the game? And he too, by the way, will be part of that Golf Channel Games broadcast tomorrow night as he dips his toe in the broadcasting, analyzing world. So we're looking forward to the 2-hour extravaganza and a couple other things about tomorrow morning for us live from 8 to 10 Eastern time. We're going to kind of celebrate the year. You'll get a sense of what we were lucky enough to do here over the course of the last 12 months here on Five Clubs, but also a significant announcement about a partnership that we're going to embark on in 2026 that you, wherever you live in this country, can be a part of. Details of that tomorrow. And an end of the year, dogs of the year. And we're going to make it very personal. All right, but let's get to a couple of items before Angel Yin joins me here in a couple of minutes, and that is Scottie Scheffler getting an early Christmas present again. I'm not one who likes to open up presents before Christmas Day, but when someone says, we got this thing, it's about 18 inches high, and it looks a lot like Jack Nicklaus with a putter raised, because it is. He wins the Jack Nicklaus Award to be bestowed upon him as the PGA Tour Player of the Year for the 4th consecutive year. So to provide context, the only other person who's done that, Tiger, So Scottie Scheffler wins it for the 4th time. And you know, when stuff like this is rolled out, you know that their partners, sponsored partners, whether it be apparel or shoe or equipment or whatever it may be, they're tipped off on this stuff a little bit ahead of time. And I would encourage everybody, Google the Nike ad that is in honor of Scottie Scheffler winning this award. He is obviously a Nike athlete, wearing all their apparel, their shoes. Very clever, very smart. You'll have to watch it 2 to 3 times to get all the little references as this little toy train set makes its way past the Christmas tree to the mantle, where that 4th Nicholas Award is posted up on that mantle. Very smart. Well done on their part. By the way, the Rookie of the Year was Aldrich Pietgeter, the young man from South Africa, who lives comfortably in the neighborhood of 190 ball speed. When you cruise it at 190, meaning you average that, that's cruising altitude for him, ball speed wise. If this young man, who's very young, who works with Justin Parsons, who was on this program a couple of weeks ago when we had Teachers Week, becomes more efficient the closer he gets to the hole, look out. And here's the thing, and I mean this with all respect, he's a kid. I mean, we say that, well, he's a young man, he's a kid. He really is. So for Aldrich Pietgeter to do what he's already done, getting wins on the PGA Tour is wildly impressive. Yes, ball speed is insane, but refinement of all that raw ability and speed is one heck of a trait to possess. Now, a couple minutes here on the PNC, because it's the time of the year where, you know, you go from the Hero to the Grant Thornton, to the PNC, and it's kind of the present day's version of silly season, but this is sweet silly season, because you had a mixed team event last week, which I think is a great optic and a great thing to see the men and the women share the stage. But this week, having been around this event for many, many years, being down there, living in the Orlando area, and it's right there at the Ritz-Carlton at Grand Lakes in Orlando, being around these people. And for a lot of them, look, they competed against each other forever. And I'm talking back to when Jack was still playing, and he would play with Gary, and then he played with his grandson, whether it was the Watkins or the Irwins. And now you have this generation where you have some players who are still, whether it's active and still hyper competitive on PGA Tour champions, or even somebody like Gary Woodland, who is in the field this year. That's a wonderful thing, but it does speak to the challenge of the sons or the daughters to try to make their own name in this game, because the truth is, these players this week are playing for the Willie Park belts, which I think is a very smart, again, clever use of a father and a son, Willie Park and Willie Park Jr., who were great quite some time ago. And then, of course, it was old Tom Morris and young Tom Morris and the Kirkwoods, Joe and Joe Jr., and they had great achievement. But if you really look at the modern era of golf, the Haas's, Jay and Bill, are the most accomplished. Look, I think it's an extraordinary accomplishment if anybody makes it to the LPGA Tour or the PGA Tour, let alone if your father won and then you become a winner, like we've seen with the Borises and with the Stadlers and with the Geibergers. And I know that I'm probably missing a couple, but anybody who gets to the PGA Tour or the LPGA and your mom or your dad had done it before you is amazing. But there is a modesty in the grand scheme of things in terms of the accomplishment. Because like I said, Jay Haas won 9 times and Bill won 6, and he won a Tour Championship and he won the FedEx Cup. But it's not that similar to what we've seen to the level of accomplishment, whether it be in baseball or basketball or football, where you see players whose fathers had either borderline Hall of Fame careers or Hall of Fame careers, and they came close. And I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who know racing exceptionally well. There is no sport where there has been more success passed down generation, whether it be stock cars or open wheel racing. Golf is a very tough lane. The name on the bag is daunting. Yes, There are privileges. There are things bestowed upon you, but there is something that comes with it that makes it inherently difficult. No, by the way, it's a singular pursuit. All right, we take a break here. When we continue, Angel Yin, she's pursuing it. Was great at a very young age, won the California State Amateur a couple times. She's won a couple times on the LPGA, has a very effervescent personality. I'm looking forward to talking to her about her path, her year, the road ahead, and a whole lot more. And at the bottom of the hour, little Wagyu for breakfast. Johnson Wagner with us on this Tuesday, live on Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 on Sirius XM. Back right after this. Back in on this Tuesday here on 5 Club's Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio. That is Sirius XM's Channel 92. This segment brought to you by Golf Pride. When it comes to having the most options with the best materials, there's no other option than Golf Pride, the best grip company globally, trusted by more players around the world at every level. All right, joining us now at the elite level, two-time winner on the LPGA, three-time member of the United States Solheim Cup team, kind enough to join us. She is Angel Yin. How are you? How you feeling?
Feeling great. I just came back from Grant Thornton and I'm ready for Christmas.
Good for you. We're going to get to your holiday plans, I promise. I want to ask you because, like, you're talking about just coming from the Grant Thornton, and here we are, we're promoting the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions, which will start your year, so you'll exhale. What is the value of an event like this, one, to start the year, but also to create a platform with all these people from all these walks, athletes, celebrities? How good is that for the LPGA to share this stage?
I think it's amazing because, as we know, everybody loves golf, and it doesn't matter what sports you play or what profession you're in, everybody loves golf. And we've created such a platform with HGV and LPGA where everybody can come together and showcase LPGA golf. And I think that is such an amazing thing, and especially at the start of the year. So it's kind of an ease back into an intense competition for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Angel, to the point about it being the beginning of the year, I think the optics of it all is great because, look, it's the dead of winter in most places, and then they see these faces that they're familiar with from other walks. That creates curiosity. You guys are starting your season. It's representative of being in this elite field, which is great. I'm curious, have you found people that you've spent a little bit of time with over the last couple of years in this event who have wanted to know about your own process? Because whether you're an actor, whether you're an athlete in another sport, they have their process. Do certain people want to know about your own?
Yeah, we get talking once we get playing. Actually, it's funny, this is my first year playing this year, and then next year will be my second year. I got to play with my friend Don Cheeto at the golf tournament. Yes. It was also his first year. So that was pretty exciting, and we just get to see how I play during the tournament because we always just play at home, and it's a bit more relaxed environment, but not obviously in the tournament. And then we get to see how he performs under pressure and see how we prepare. Obviously, the questions is like, how do we prep for a round? But yeah, like lots of questions we can interact and see in real time.
You know, Angel, you said everybody loves golf, and we're seeing, you mentioned Don Cheadle. I mean, he's one of the most important actors of his generation. And whether it's actors that we see occasionally that will be out at Pebble Beach, you have Steph Curry, who's completely insane about golf. LeBron James has now gotten immersed in it. He can't get enough of it. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that we're seeing this amazing, not just uptick, but like they're all in? Why?
I do think golf is a very peaceful sport. Well, sometimes when you're not breaking your clubs and losing your mind out there. I kind of did a little bit of that at Grant Thornton. I almost lost my mind, but Hoagie was there to pick me up. But it's just so different. You're out there alone. You have to figure it out by yourself. There's no one there to lift you up other than yourself. And even if you're playing in a partner game, all you're doing is feeling bad, but you can't feel bad because your partner's there waiting for you to hit a good shot, like especially like an alternate shot. And I think it's such a challenge between the 2 years that I think it excites everybody because it's like, wow, I can mentally work on myself even more. I can get even better. I can mentally get even stronger. And I think with that, I think it's just like it's not an untouched territory, but something that can go even deeper and explore more.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I think it's for a lot of it, whether it's Steph or LeBron or anybody else, overwhelmingly they're part of teams. This is a singular pursuit where you can get lost in your own improvement, which gets me to something I heard you say on a really interesting podcast conversation you had on the Fried Egg. And you said something I'd never heard someone of your level say. My goal is to maintain. If I can maintain my consistency, then that is the primary goal. Can you kind of expound on that? Because a lot of people talk about, I want to get better at this, this, and this, but you're getting better by maintaining. Can you explain that?
Yeah. I mean, over the years, I think, so everybody always asks me when I started playing golf. I started playing golf when I was 6. I'm 27 now. And so that's a long time of my life, like majority of it. And I can leave the game for a month, come back and still hit a good golf shot. But why can't I hit a good golf shot after playing for 6 months straight? It's just your mind's breaking down, your body's breaking down. So I'm not maintaining my health, my mental health to be able to perform at my best. And when I walk away for, like, let's just say a month without touching anything, it shows that I can still do all of that, but I deteriorated all the other aspects to be able to be good. And so my whole goal and my mindset now is I just need to maintain and to be good, because I can be good unless I like push myself too much.
Health. How are you better at maintaining health? Because look, you've dealt with some stuff that I would imagine maybe challenge your mind to think, God, can I be right again? Like, you know how it is. Like when you're sick, you're like, please just make me well. I'll never take it for granted again. You know,
Yeah.
How about maintaining health? Have you improved in that area?
I do think so. I've been, obviously strengthening my ankle, which I broke. And so breaking your ankle and not being able to walk is the worst thing, because my friend who's my manager has pushed me around, had to play nurse for me, and she had to miss Christmas, unfortunately, with her family, because I'm just in a wheelchair and I can't do anything. And so she felt really bad. And so I'm thankful that I have great people around me. But it's a lot. I mean, like, when we travel a lot, our health is deteriorating because we're not really on a good system. We have jet lag that we need time to recover. So I've been doing, a lot of red light therapy, a lot of holistic stuff that I can maintain on the road. And then obviously exercising and resting, because, if we don't rest, we can't heal. So I've been trying to take a lot of time for myself to rest and, not do much, to be honest.
When you won at the beginning of the year in Thailand, I know that was big because I know the year before you even said it, like a year ago, I'm in a wheelchair. And now here I am, and I'm in the winner's circle. What do you do when you're on a plane for 14 hours? How do you budget that time?
I think I'm the worst person to ask, because sometimes I just look at movies. I'm not really doing much, but what is there to do? You just sit there and wait to get on to the next location. But I always try to sneak in a nap, even though I don't want to, just to be resting. And, some people try to see what time to go to sleep, like the local time, but I don't really want to think that hard, because then that's like my mind having to do something. It's always nicer to do things without, I guess, a point to do something. I think that's why off season is so important, because like you want to wake up without an obligation or somewhere to go, without an alarm finally.
No, that is the feeling, which a lot of people don't get. Is like, I don't have to do anything tomorrow. I'm going to do stuff, but it's things that I choose and not having obligations. I think we all need that. I want to ask you about the global part of this, because look, we sit here and we're myopic, and it's like, the United States is more important for their tour. Explain to people, when you go to places like Thailand or Korea, the fervor for the sport, for women's golf, and the atmosphere that you guys experience, and how much it gets you, because I know you love it.
Yeah, I think we can actually just pull back to this event. Everybody loves how we are going across different fields of, professions, from sports to entertainment. We're broadening a horizon because everybody likes to play golf. So why not do it with the world? Because there are so many golf fans all over the world. Like our Thailand tournament, that is like a major to them, because not everybody can just travel to America and watch the US Open, right? So
Right.
this is their one chance to see everybody play in person, and it's amazing to them, and it drives up the love of the game and spreads it. And that's what I think truly is growing the game, instead of just keeping it in one place. Yes, I mean, obviously I'm American, and I love this country and I want to stay here because it's just easier for me. But when you get to see all the fans across the world as much as we travel, it is something that's honestly life-changing, and it gives us a different purpose and a much bigger purpose in life than just to play like around home. You're literally inspiring kids all over parts of the world that actually don't know much, that are going to get into it and actually will fall in love with it. Because my story with golf is quite unique, that it's not just that my parents played or anybody. It was my mom's friend who wanted her son to play, but it's always more fun to play as a pair. And so, the way I got into golf wasn't conventional, and I think that makes me want to help spread it to people who are obviously not already grown into the game.
You have enough experience now to give your view of where the tour is, and I say that because I had Craig Kessler on about a week and a half ago. Look, he's impressive. His background's impressive. He's impressive on messaging. He can sit there and stand tall when he's asked virtually anything. How impressive is he with his ability to communicate and listen with his workforce, which is you guys? What's your impression of him so far?
I think he's doing a great job. I mean, he came in on a short notice and got us a tournament in the beginning of the year in San Francisco. Well, not San Francisco's, but in Palos Altos with Fortnite. He made a connection that was just right off the bat, doing something really good for the tour. He's making good connections. And I think, like, we're going back to this, maintaining relationships. And I think sometimes it's not always about creating new relationships, but it's about maintaining the relationships that we have had for decades, and to be able to continue that further. And I think he really understands that and values that. And we are seeing that firsthand right now going into next year.
You mentioned, just coming from the Grant Thornton and obviously promoting the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions. And it's the idea of co-opting space and sharing stage. Would you like to see a sanctioned LPGA, PGA Tour, even if it's separate competition, or if it's some type of mixed team event, even if it's, whether it's 12 and 12, whatever it might be? Are you keen for that?
100%. I think it would be really great, because maybe the first year wouldn't be that good, but through that experience, we can create something better. And obviously, I know in the past we've had something quite similar, and I think continuing that and is going to build more relationships and more eyeballs onto this, both men and women. When I played on the European Tour in 2016, I played in my first event on that tour. Was a co-sanctioned event between the DP and the Ladies European Tour. It was in Morocco. And it's just, we obviously didn't play on the same course or anything, but it was really cool to have everybody together. And so everybody's like, oh, I can watch the men and the women. And so why do I need to choose either or when we can have both? And but everybody wants a swirl, not one flavor.
No, so let me ask you, I'm a huge fan of talking to great players about flow state. You made 30 birdies in Thailand. Is that total unconscious golf? If I said to you, what do you remember most about your state of mind that week? What would you say?
State of mind, I think my most clear memory was the last round. I think Aki made so many birdies that I just felt like I made par every single hole. And then I turned in my scorecard and I was 7 under, and I was like, wait, I did okay. But like, when there's a goal and all you can see is that finish line, I don't really think that I'm thinking about how good I'm playing or what birdies I'm doing, because I'm just trying to chase, because I just see someone behind me like running 100% speed, chasing after me and trying to chase down that trophy, even though I had a 5-shot lead into the final day. I think she shot like 11 under. It was unbelievable. And so it was just, all right, what can I do? If she's here, I need to be closer. And what can I do better? Because she's right up my ass.
All right, you were great about talking about the setup. And setup, this was a recurring, kind of talking point throughout the year, I think came to a head. And I thought it was good dialogue. It was great to hear everybody's viewpoint on setup. And I'm talking about KPMG specifically, but it's not an easy needle to thread. Because all of these golf courses, look, you move the target, you move the location, conditions, agronomically, wind, temperature, all of it. Is there an organization outside of the LPGA that you think consistently nails setup?
It's a really tough question to answer because if you don't consistently go out there and experience it, you don't really know. The funny thing is, I sometimes feel like the consistent setup at my country club at Hacienda back in LA is pretty good, but obviously you're not changing locations constantly. You are working with something that you're very familiar with. And honestly, sometimes even the greens are not good. All the members are riled up like, what is this? This is awful, So even as something that we do every single day, there can be really hard. So it's definitely understanding. But I do have to say, my first time ever playing Grand Thorn this last week, the setup, on a golf course that we play every single year, is spot on. Obviously, we have the help of LPGA officials there as well, but I don't know. It's just the positions and the pins that they did. I think with a combination of the LPGA and PGA, the knowledge of both, and obviously the familiar grounds, it was just, I think the course setup was amazing. Greens were rolling great. I shouldn't be saying this, but I've been thinking that our greens haven't been rolling as fast as that used to be when I first came on tour. Obviously, the weather is such a huge factor, and so when we travel, every year is changing. But I love fast greens. I cannot get enough of fast greens. My biggest pet peeve is putting on slow greens, because why are we putting on slow greens when we can put on fast greens?
By the way, nice shout out, Hacienda. And also the voice of the guy complaining, that's how they all sound. What's wrong with this? Why are they so slow? They all sound the same. All right, let me get you out with this. Holiday plans, what do you want? Don't say, well, I don't want anything. We all want stuff. What do you want?
What do I want? I guess I'm gonna be very honest, because this is the only thing. I wanna be in better shape. I wanna be healthy. I really just want to be healthy. I'm almost there. I feel like I can finish. I can feel the finishing line. I can see it, and I'm just gonna hound down and not lock myself away. That sounds really bad. But I'm really gonna just focus in on my health this off season, and I want to be better for next year, because I think my game is good. I'm mentally better. But if I'm physically not there, then I can't accomplish what I want, and life's short, and I'm not going to be in my 20s forever.
Okay, but under the tree, we can't give you good health. I'm talking about, you want some bling, you want some cashmere, you want some, what do we all want a box under the tree that's like, yeah, you got me what I wanted. Is there anything you want?
Can I tell you something really funny?
Yeah.
I think I have a lot of the stuff that I want, and my friends, are amazing. So every time I mention something, they always get it for me. My tree's packed. And I think it's so funny that the tree is packed. So I am telling them we should just start wrapping up salt shakers to make it even look more packed. And then we can just surprise each other and be like, whoa, what, this was in my house? No way. So I think we're just going to start mysteriously wrapping things in the house and then surprising each other, because it's like, whoa, sometimes you forget that there's stuff in the corner.
Yes. See, you've already got your tree packed. I'm very particular with my daughters. I don't want them to see anything. I want them to really believe, and they're in their 20s, to come down that morning and think that somebody came in overnight. So the tree goes from very sparse to oh my God, he came. That's how we do it.
Yeah. And maybe we'll put everything away now then.
No. Go with the salt shakers. Hey, listen, have a great off season. Happy holidays. I look forward to talking with you next year. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, that is Angel Yin again. the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions. That will be their first event of the calendar year of 2026. We take a break, continue here on this Tuesday on 5 Clubs right after this. Back in on 5 Clubs on this Tuesday, Golf Channel and PGA Tour Radio Channel 92 on Sirius XM. This segment is brought to you by Peter Millar. You got a little bit over a week. I know how we are. We don't do this stuff in advance. They will take care of anything and everything you need at petermillar.com. For everybody in your life who likes to dress well, whatever it is that they do, they've got you covered at petermillar.com. All right, he joins us now from Florida. Couldn't be with us in studio because he was in transit yesterday with Brendan DeYoung. Of course, their radio program, Wagner Filet, on Sirius XM, and such a big part of everything going on Golf Channel in 2025. He will be part of the Golf Channel games. He, of course, is Johnson Wagner. Good morning, my friend. How you feeling?
Gary, I'm feeling great. I'm happy to be out of Charlotte. Yesterday when I left, it was 17 degrees, and I'm down in South Florida now, so couldn't be happier.
So when you left, it was Phillip Rivers. When I looked at my car, it was Johnny Unitas. So it was 17 for you, it was 19 for me. By the way, it's Marshall Faulk today. It's 28. So we're warming up, baby. All right, let me start with this, because you've had such a fun full year and so much a part of what you do. People love seeing you hit golf shots. What's the best shot you struck on live television this year?
I don't know that there is one, but if I had to pinpoint one, it was the Tour Championship Saturday, 15th hole at East Lake, par 3. The course had been redone by Andrew Green the year before, so greens are firm. They didn't use this back tee on this island green par 3 last year. This year they used it on Saturday. So I went back to that tee. I wanted to, land a 4-iron on the green and just show how firm it was. And it's right by the gate. So like 15 people back there. I'm out there probably 45 minutes before going on air, and I'm talking to the people, having fun. I got a little crowd, and then it starts dumping rain. And so my stretching plan didn't work out. And so I'm with John Faco and Andrew Bradley, my field producer, and we're sitting there just huddled under an umbrella, wondering if we're going to be able to do this. We come on air, rain stops, and I hadn't made a swing, hadn't done anything, and I absolutely striped this 4-iron right at the center of the green. Unfortunately, it was 205 to cover the water. It fell about a yard short into the drink, but it was the most flush shot I've ever hit on television.
Well, you know what? That could be the answer to the next question, because that shot is so daunting under any circumstance. But then you're coming down the stretch in that event. It's the 15th hole. What's the hardest shot you tried to recreate this year?
Came on with you Monday morning of the Players Championship with the playoff between J.J. Spawn and Rory McIlroy. Yep. And it was howling. It was freezing cold. The wind's howling. Rory McIlroy hit this incredible shot into 17, obviously the par 3 island green. I don't know why I'm on an island green fix this morning, but and then I went out and hit the shot with Rory there beside me. I flushed an 8-iron from 140 yards. It also came up short into the water, but I've never seen the 17th at TPC Sawgrass play more difficult than it did that Monday morning when Rory hit just an absolute beauty into the middle of the green.
Yeah, he did, and that followed, that was what followed after he had hit that fantastic tee shot on 16, which I thought kind of set the tone for the morning. Yeah, when you came on that morning, that was a big day for us to lead into that playoff with Spawn and McIlroy. So with Rory, look, I know you love all the things you get to do, but you do love calling golf, and to call the Masters on the radio this year is what an experience. But it's also in particular special because you're in this little perch on the 18th green, and it's you, and you're with Tarico, and you're with Taylor. Give everybody kind of a full kind of reflection of what that was like to see that tournament come down the stretch, to see him make bogey in regulation, had to go back to that tee. to listen to Tirico calling it and you're adding color, just give everybody a full reflection on that.
Yeah, Gary, I don't think I've ever been as emotionally invested in a sporting event as I was for the Masters this past year. I mean, Virginia Tech played for a national title when I was a sophomore, but it doesn't even come close to how I felt all week at the Masters. And I remember waking up Sunday morning and I had the worst stomach pain I've ever had in my life. Like in I was in knots all day long and sitting there. Once he hit that, he birdies 17. He hits the tee shot on 18 and it's over, right? We're going to sit there and watch the career Grand Slam end. And when he hit that shot into the bunker, it was just this, it was a roller coaster the whole day. I mean, when you think about what he did on 13, what he did on 1, what he did the entire day, it was this roller coaster of emotions. And sitting there, like, I literally was crying when he finally won in the playoff over Justin Rose. I was in full tears of joy, but it was just, it was the greatest day that I can ever imagine watching sports. And I was just honored to be able to, call it in some capacity. I don't think Tirico let me speak the last hour because I was just too emotional. It was unbelievable, and I'm so happy for Rory, all that he's gone through. Like I obviously witnessed Tiger Woods in 2000 win the career Grand Slam, but like the amount of drama that's gone on for 11 years for Rory McIlroy, 10 years to complete this career Grand Slam at Augusta. You and I have talked about it a ton. I don't know what could possibly top it as far as like a golf accomplishment that could get me as emotional. As good of a person as Rory McIlroy is, and to do it the way he did it, it just, I don't know.
Yeah, Tiger, it took him a month to complete the career Grand Slam. I mean, this was an 11-year journey with particular heartache most recently, obviously, as you know, before it. I'm wondering, when he left the green on 18 in regulation, did you follow him? Were you transfixed on him walking off that green, knowing there was going to be a playoff? I'm just curious if you did, what you sense about his body language, about where his eyes were. Were you paying attention to him?
I was via the monitor that we had in the tower. I didn't see him after he went up the hill. He was down. He was very down. Obviously, he just gave up the Masters with a wedge in his hand on 18. And he tells the story that Harry Diamond, his caddy, said as they're walking into the scoring trailer. He said, "Hey, you would have given your left leg to be in a position to play off the Masters." So now. I know we've talked about Harry Diamond and how I feel about him as a ton, but it definitely set Rory into the right mental space because when he went into the playoff, I thought there was no chance he was going to win. I mean, losing the way he lost after the roller coaster that it was impressive to be able to step up on the 18th tee and just send it down the middle again like he did.
He did. I went back and I watched, there's a 17-minute video that's every shot on that Sunday with no commentary. It's just the open mics. And I needed a steam and a nap after that 17 minutes, let alone the 5 hours of the actual exercise of watching it. No, it's extraordinary. It's never going to change, I don't think, in our minds about what you said. It was such an emotional roller coaster, and everybody was just gassed when it was over. So let's turn to the guy who never fatigues you. You just wait for the inevitable outcome, and that's Scheffler. I mean, from what he did at Quail Hollow to feeling heat as he made the turn with Rahm and Bryson, and then just staying steady to what was tactical and masterful at the Open Championship. Can somebody reel him in the next 18 to 24 months?
No, they can't. The only person that can reel Scottie Scheffler in is a wine glass. I mean, there's nothing that is going to stop him. He is incredibly. He's so focused. He has this ability that to put stuff behind him after he wins a golf tournament. He doesn't celebrate, Gary. He doesn't celebrate. He just puts it behind him and goes forward to the next one. And I just think he's uniquely positioned among this younger generation of guys that they're playing for so much money. Scottie Scheffler doesn't care about how much money he makes. They're playing for these huge tournaments. That's all he cares about is winning trophies and getting better and being the best. Nobody's going to run him down. I saw something, he obviously just won Player of the Year for the fourth straight year. There's only two people in the history that have won Player of the Year 4 straight years. Obviously, Tiger did it, I think, twice, and now Scottie Scheffler. And I don't like comparing Scottie to Tiger, but there's nobody else to compare him to. He has been that dominant these last 4 seasons, and no, I mean, who would it be? Who would be able to chase him down? I think it's like it would have to be a Luke Clanton. It would have to be somebody coming from college to be able to chase.
Yeah, I think you're right about it's, and I think most people, when you invoke Tiger's name, they immediately think it's a comparison. The point I try to make is that the only way to give context to the level of achievement is him, because he's the only other person to have done all these various things. So to me, it is natural context. Like you just said, there's only one other guy who did it. So it's not a comparison, it's to give you an understanding of the exemplary level of achievement that he has provided. Last thing, because you've been the Spieth guy, give me the metrics that you will use from the beginning of the year to the end of March to give you a sense that he's going in the right direction.
I need to see him in the hunt. I think we all need to see Jordan Spieth with a chance to win big golf tournament on Sunday. And he gave it to us a couple times early last year, but then it kind of fizzled. I think coming off that wrist injury now, a year or so removed from it, it's going to be better, but we got to see him in the, and I need to see him. I need to see him hitting his irons like he did back in 2015. So I think for me, he's gotten better off the tee. It's strokes gained approach. If I have to give you a metric, it's strokes gained approach is what I need to see out of Jordan.
All right, listen, thank you for all you've given us all year long. Greatly appreciate it, what you and Brendan have done collectively with us. I know you've had a great year. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Thank you as always.
You're the best, Gary. Thank you for having me.
All right, there is Johnson Wagner. Golf Channel games tomorrow night. 2 teams, 2 pretty good players. Those two players will be on this program tomorrow. We come back, a little rewind, so to speak, here on 5 Clubs. Back after this. Couple minutes left here on this Tuesday on 5 Club. This segment is brought to you by Century Insurance. Business insurance is what they've been doing for 120 years with knowledge and experience that can help you with all of your business insurance needs. Century also is invested in the game of golf, including their relationship with the United States Golf Association. For those folks out there who do not have a handicap established, you should do it, because at the end of the year, you can look back on all the things that you did with respect to your score. It's not just your score, it's detailed information, because Century presents the GIN system for the USGA. So you can get your own GIN Rewind, which is now available for you at the end of the year through that GIN app, the USGA GIN app that you can just download on your phone. For example, let's take a look at this GIN Rewind. As a member, through by way of the Carolinas Golf Association, great golf association, this guy doesn't play much golf. He must be very busy, commits a ton to his job, only 15 rounds of golf. He did lower his index modestly from a 2.2 to a 1.4, where it currently resides. Hey, nice round at Chicago Golf Club. Backed it up there with a fine round at the Harry Colt Old Elm, constructed by Donald Ross. Not a good day at Caprock Ranch for this guy. Must have been caught up with the scenery and absolute genius design by Gil Hansen, Jim Wagner, and the Cavemen. Scoring for this gentleman across the board, pretty consistent. Par 3, par 4s, par 5s. Doesn't play much at the beginning of the week. How about never, except for one Wednesday? He must be very, very tied up. But he did get to Chicago Golf Club 4 times. That ain't bad. That chump, who also played Friars Head, the hardest golf course he played all year, is a 1.4. That be me. See, that's the thing. I can keep track of all of my scores, and here is the saddest part of this. Not that I'm just a choppy, very, very flimsy 1.4. 15 rounds? The year before, I think I played 3 times as much. I do way too much around here. Well, you know what? We're going to do 2 hours tomorrow, and we figured we would end the year the best we could. So we have managed to line up a guy who's had a pretty good year, Scottie Scheffler. The guy behind him, Rory McIlroy, will also be on this program. The European Ryder Cup hero who made the winning putt, Shane Lowry, will be on this show tomorrow. The United States Ryder Cup captain, Keegan Bradley, will be on this show tomorrow. Keith Mitchell, the Natalie Cladd best dressed guy on tour, will be on this program tomorrow. That's why we needed 2 hours. And also a monster announcement about a partnership that we are embarking on in 2026 that you, whatever state you live in, can be a part of. Details of all of that. And if you think you're going to forget the dogs tomorrow, you know what? You must not know us very well. 1, 2, and everybody else. We'll see you on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock.